Your income is a mirror. It reflects exactly who you are right now, not who you wish you were, not who you pretend to be online, but who you actually are on the inside. And that truth is uncomfortable, because it means every financial struggle you've ever had wasn't bad luck. It wasn't the economy. It wasn't your boss. It was the person you failed to become. Think about that for a second. If someone handed you $1 million tomorrow, statistically, you'd lose it all within 5 years. Why? Because your internal thermostat, your identity, your self-image, is set to a specific financial temperature. And no matter how much money flows in, it flows right back out until it matches who you are inside. Identity controls everything. Today, I'm going to show you the exact mechanism that keeps most people trapped in a cycle of working harder but never getting ahead. We'll expose the invisible programming running your financial life, the one belief that separates the wealthy from everyone else, and the single shift that can change everything. But I have to warn you, what you're about to hear will challenge everything you thought you knew about success, money, and happiness. And once you see it, you can never unsee it. The poverty code. Before you were 7 years old, something happened to you that determined your financial future. Not a single event, but thousands of tiny moments. Every time your parents argued about bills, every time someone said money doesn't grow on trees, every time you heard that rich people are greedy or dishonest. Give me a child until he is 7, and I will show you the man. Your subconscious mind was recording everything, building a blueprint, a financial identity that still controls you today. Psychologists call this your money script. It's a set of unconscious beliefs about wealth that run in the background of your mind like software you never installed. And here's what makes it dangerous. You don't even know it's there. You think your financial decisions are rational. You think you're choosing to stay at that job to avoid investing, to spend instead of save. But you're not choosing anything. You're executing a program written by a 7-year-old version of yourself. Programmed. Dr. Brad Clontze's research at Creighton University found that these money scripts predict income, net worth, and financial behaviors with startling accuracy. Your code is running right now. But here's the question that changes everything. What happens when you learn to rewrite it? The income ceiling. Here's a pattern nobody talks about. Most people earn within 10% of what they believe they deserve. Not what they want, not what they need. What they believe they deserve. There's a massive difference. You might say you want $1 million, but deep inside, if your identity says I'm a $60,000 a year person, that's exactly what you'll earn. Year after year, decade after decade. Jim Rohn put it perfectly. Income seldom exceeds personal development. Think about lottery winners. Nearly 70% go bankrupt within a few years. The money arrived, but the person didn't grow to match it. The external changed, but the internal stayed the same. And the internal always wins. Your financial thermostat pulls you back to your set point every single time. Get a raise, you find a way to spend it. Start a side business that takes off. You self-sabotage. An unexpected windfall, gone within months. If this pattern sounds familiar, if you've ever wondered why you keep ending up in the same financial place no matter what you try, hit like and subscribe to reprogram more of your money blocks. The next one might be the belief that's been holding you back the most. Because what I'm about to reveal is the invisible force that keeps your ceiling locked in place. Work on yourself. Most people spend 40 hours a week working on their job and 0 hours working on themselves. And then they wonder why nothing changes. Work harder on yourself. This is the fundamental misunderstanding that keeps the majority trapped. They think success is about finding the right opportunity, the right business, the right investment. But success isn't something you chase. It's something you attract by the person you become. Think about it like a garden. You can wish for a beautiful garden. You can visualize it. You can even buy the most expensive seeds. But if you never develop the skills of a gardener, nothing grows. The seeds of wealth are useless in unprepared soil. The wealthy understand this instinctively. Warren Buffett reads 500 pages a day. Bill Gates reads 50 books a year. Oprah Winfrey credits her success entirely to personal growth. They don't work harder on their businesses. They work harder on themselves. And their businesses, their income, their impact, all of it rises to match who they've become. Success is not something you pursue, it is something you attract. So the real question isn't how do I make more money? The real question is who do I need to become? And that shift changes everything, including something most people never consider about happiness. The happiness trap. Here's where most wealth advice falls apart. They tell you to chase the money and happiness will follow. But that's a lie. And deep down, you know it. You've seen wealthy people who are miserable. You've seen poor people who radiate joy. So what's actually going on? Happiness is not something you postpone for the future. It is something you design for the present. The trap is believing that happiness lies in what you get. The promotion, the car, the house, the bank balance. But every study on hedonic adaptation shows the same thing. The joy of getting fades. Every single time, that new car, exciting for 3 months. That raise, forgotten in 6 weeks. That dream house, just a house within a year. But here's what doesn't fade. The satisfaction of who you're becoming. The confidence of developing a new skill. The pride of overcoming a limitation you once thought was permanent. Happiness is not contained in what you get. It is contained in what you become. This is why some of the wealthiest people are also the most fulfilled, not because of their bank accounts, but because of the journey of growth that built those accounts. They fell in love with the process of becoming, and that distinction is everything, especially when you understand the one belief that either accelerates or destroys this entire process. The deserve belief. Deep inside your mind, there's a belief running that determines everything. It answers one simple question. Do I deserve wealth and happiness? Not what you say publicly, not what you post online, what you actually believe in the quiet moments when nobody's watching. Deserve level equals income level. Most people carry a hidden belief that they don't truly deserve abundance. Maybe it came from a parent who said money is the root of all evil. Maybe it came from a culture that glorifies struggle and suffering. Maybe it came from a single moment of shame around money that carved itself into your identity. Psychologist Dr. Carol Dweck's research on self-concept shows that we unconsciously create a ceiling for ourselves based on our internal sense of worthiness. And we defend that ceiling viciously. When something threatens to push us above it, we sabotage, we procrastinate, we make bad decisions, we pick fights, we get sick. Your nervous system treats exceeding your deserve level as a threat. Your body literally interprets success beyond your identity as danger. Not because success is dangerous, but because it doesn't match the person your subconscious thinks you are. You will never outperform your own self-image. But what if you could expand that self-image? What if there was a way to raise your deserve level? That's exactly what separates the permanently wealthy from everyone else. Identity shift. The wealthy don't become wealthy and then change their identity. They change their identity first and wealth follows. This is the sequence that 95% of people get backwards. They wait for external proof before they allow themselves to think differently. I'll believe I'm successful when I see the money. I'll feel confident when I get the promotion. I'll feel worthy when I achieve the goal. But that's not how transformation works. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Every self-made millionaire went through a moment where they decided who they were going to become before any evidence supported that decision. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't wait for proof. They rewrote their internal story first. James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, calls this identity-based change. Instead of focusing on what you want to achieve, you focus on who you want to become. And then you cast votes for that identity with every small action. Every book you read is a vote. Every hour you invest in learning is a vote. Every time you choose growth over comfort is a vote. 1. Decide who you want to become. 2. Take one small action daily that proves it. 3. Let the evidence build your new identity. The compound effect of these votes creates an unstoppable momentum. And it leads directly to a principle that the greatest minds in history all understood. Value creation. Here's a truth that sounds simple but changes everything when you really absorb it. Money flows to value, not to desire, not to need, not to wishful thinking, to value. Value creates wealth. And here's what most people miss. Your value in the marketplace is directly proportional to your personal development. The more you grow, the more you can offer. The more you can offer, the more the world rewards you. It's not about working longer hours. A ditch digger works 12 hours a day and earns minimum wage. A brain surgeon works 8 hours and earns thousands per hour. The difference isn't effort, it's the value of the skill. And skills come from personal development. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. When you work on your job, you make a living. When you work on yourself, you make a fortune, because personal development compounds. Every book you read connects to the last one. Every skill you develop enhances every other skill. Every perspective you gain multiplies your problem-solving ability. You become exponentially more valuable, not incrementally, exponentially. And this exponential growth reveals something crucial about why most people plateau financially and emotionally. The plateau killer. You know that feeling when you hit a wall, when no matter how hard you push, nothing moves forward. Most people interpret that plateau as a signal to stop. They think the universe is telling them this is their limit. But plateaus aren't walls, They're doors you haven't learned to open yet. Every plateau in your life, financial, emotional, spiritual, is simply the boundary of your current identity. You've maxed out the results that your current level of development can produce. The only way through is up, not working harder at the same level, growing to the next level entirely. Think about a video game. You can't beat level 10 with level 5 skills. No amount of effort at level 5 will work. You need to level up. The problem is never the problem is your level of development. This is why some people seem to break through effortlessly while others grind for decades and stay stuck. The breakthrough people aren't luckier. They're committed to continuous growth. They read when others scroll. They learn when others complain. They invest in themselves when others invest in distractions. Level up or stay stuck. And this commitment to growth unlocks something most people don't even realize exists. A force that operates silently in the background of every wealthy and happy person's life. The attraction law. What if I told you that you don't find wealth, you attract it, you don't chase happiness, you magnetize it? This isn't mystical thinking, this is observable reality. Success is not to be pursued, it is to be attracted by the person you become. Look at any genuinely successful person. They didn't get there by desperately chasing money. They got there by becoming so valuable, so skilled, so developed that opportunities started finding them. Doors opened that they didn't even knock on. People sought them out. Resources appeared, not because of magic, but because a developed person sees opportunities that an undeveloped person walks right past. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. A person who has developed financial intelligence sees investment opportunities everywhere. A person who hasn't developed it sees only expenses. Same world, different perception. Different results. Your level of personal development determines the quality of everything you attract. Your relationships, your income, your opportunities, your happiness. All of it is a reflection of who you are, not what you do. This brings us to the final piece. The one truth that ties everything together and gives you the power to transform your entire life, starting today. Become more. Everything we've discussed today comes down to one radical truth. The fastest way to have more is to become more, not to do more. Not to hustle more, not to sacrifice your health, your relationships, or your sanity on the altar of productivity. To become more. Become. Read a book every week, not because someone told you to, but because every book rewires your brain. Learn a skill every quarter, not for your resume, but because competence breeds confidence, and confidence changes everything. Surround yourself with people who are where you want to be, not to network. Because proximity to growth accelerates growth. 1. Read one book per week. 2. Learn one new skill per quarter. 3. Invest 10% of income in personal growth. 4. Surround yourself with people above your level. Here's the beautiful paradox. When you stop chasing money and start chasing growth, money chases you. When you stop pursuing happiness and start building yourself, happiness becomes your natural state. The question is not how to get more, the question is how to become more. It was never about the money. It was always about who you were becoming on the way to it. And that journey, that process of evolution, is where both wealth and happiness live, not at the destination, in the becoming. So let me ask you something. After everything you've heard today, what are you going to do differently tomorrow morning? Because knowing this isn't enough. Knowledge without action is just entertainment. You now understand the poverty code running in your subconscious. You know about the income ceiling tied to your identity. You've seen how personal development is the true currency of wealth and happiness. Know it, live it. The gap between where you are and where you want to be isn't filled with more work. It's filled with more growth, more self-awareness, more intentional evolution. Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. Start today, not next Monday. Not next month. Today, pick up a book. Listen to a podcast. Invest 30 minutes in yourself before you invest 8 hours in your job, because your income will never far exceed your personal development, and your happiness will never exceed the depth of your character. If you made it this far, comment "Become More" to prove you're among the few who are ready to stop chasing and start attracting. Your mind is either programmed for wealth or poverty. Now you know how to reprogram it. If this video exposed something in you, subscribe. There's more to uncover.